We rolling? Look, if you're not voting Liberal in the upcoming election, you're an idiot. You know, me personally, I don't vote for various reasons. You know, I'm not great at reading or writing. You know, I got a pretty low IQ, a big cock, small brain. I'm pretty impressionable, you know, non-confrontational. You know what I mean? I may be an idiot, right? But I'm smart enough to know I have no right to vote. You know, so I leave it to the thinking and book-learned folks. Yeah. But anyways, vote Liberal.
Sensational.
Sing your heart out.
Get mad.
Be happy.
You have the right to remain silent.
Shut up.
Anything you say will be used against you. Against you. Against you. Against you.
That's the true reality. Oh, this is part of the next part. I like thinking about fucking. And I only read pornos. And I'm an ex-con, you know. That's the actual reason I don't vote. But if I could, you know, if I could, I wouldn't. And honestly, if you haven't taken a course in politics, you shouldn't vote either, because you're a fucking idiot. And you're being fucking like sold. You know what I mean? Like, don't ever let someone fucking sell you something, right? You know, and by being an idiot that votes, you cause more harm than good. But that's my fucking idiot opinion, so. Take it as a grain of salt. Or take it in the ass for all I care, you fucking queer. So, no guests today. You know, I had a few lined up. But I don't know. I don't know. You know, I love writing the jokes and reading them. Ad-libbing and improving, but interviewing kind of, I don't know, breaks up my writing too much. You know, now my brain says, you only need to write half the jokes each week. But really, I should be pushing myself to come up with an hour of content a week, you know? The interviews are making me lazy. You know, and making me wait. Two things I fucking hate. So I figure, you know, I'll cool it on the interviews, you know, until I can do them like in person at a studio. I don't know. I have a few lined up, but I don't know. You know, but I don't care what anyone thinks, so. Why am I fucking interviewing people? You know, I guess to try and steal their fans. I don't know, what do they call it? Fucking crossover? It's just too much trouble for a fucking crazy ex-con. You know what I mean? I'm not actually from the entertainment industry. I'm a crazy guy. I hate being by myself. Yeah? But I also hate being around people. Who am I? I am a tree. A tree that, if left alone, tugs his own horn. You know, if I'm around other trees, though, I'm safe. You know, unless they fall asleep, then I'm tugging. You know, I wrote that poem when I was alone. Keep a heavy 6, you know? If you're the kind of person who speaks truth to power, right? Keep your 6 very heavy. Especially these days. Huh? I love comedy fans. You know? If someone's a comedy fan, like they, not just like they like comedy movies, but they actually go to stand-up shows. Like, am I relating the wrong fucking end? You know, if someone goes to a comedy show, you can talk to them about almost anything. You know, their mother could have died last week of a car crash. And you can go up on stage and talk about car crashes for fucking 60 minutes and they laugh. You know, they thank you even because they were able to laugh rather than cry. Right? And that's beautiful. You know, where a regular person, you'll make a joke about a tree branch falling on your own head, and they will explode or implode, right? And say, "Fuck you, you fucking piece of fucking shit! A tree fell on my great grandmother before I was born and killed her." Hey, everyone's had tragedy in their life, you know? You don't get to dictate how other people talk about tragedy. You know, bad things happen. Grow the fuck up. I would never, under any circumstance, go on a fucking cruise. There you are, on a cruise, you know, partying, cheating on your wife low-key or whatever. You get real drunk, pass out, then you awake. And you're tied up in the belly of a canoe, you know, with 30 human traffickers. You know, they all have a syringe filled with sleeping potion, you know, ready to prick you if you awake. So you play asleep, and when they are, you know, and when they are taking you from the canoe to a warehouse, like in the movie fucking Hostel, right? You burst out of the ropes, you know, and square off with the 30 human traffickers, right? They are all emaciated and preemies, so you just start swinging, you know. Every time you connect, you blow the human trafficker's head clean off, right? Because you are a big fat guy, as a guy who takes cruises. You know, you take down maybe 17 of them, right? But they also have been sticking you with syringes filled with the sleeping potion as you fight them. You sway and swing, and they stick you some more, and then you black out and you're laying there like a fucking porcupine. You know, and this time they just put a fucking bullet in your head. That's why I would never go on a fucking cruise, right? I don't want to wake up in a fucking brothel with pigtails on my hair, you know? Because those human traffickers wouldn't be able to tell the difference between me and a lady if I'd shaved, you know? They're like, healthy, fat, money. Are we old yet? You get old a few times, you know? But when you get old the first time, is when you stop lying. You know, and then when you stop trying to fuck, that's the second time you get old. And the final stage of being old, forgetting you're a fucking asshole. I love being an asshole, you know? I'm like doing this like I don't know how to fucking smoke. I'm like trying to time it in. I'm the kind of guy who needs to make love often. You know, and I've always had a hard time, you know, understanding other. I've always had a hard time understanding male impotence in others. Like I remember walking with these two acquaintances of mine this one time, and the two of them were talking about experiencing making love or lack thereof, and I remember them talking about how putting their dick in a girl made them soft, and the other guy was like, exactly. You know, I wish they were like, I wish I could get to the end, right? And I realized in that moment, you know, that pussy made these guys' dicks soft. What the fuck? That's why they're my acquaintances, not my friends, you know? And they never come, you know? They fuck and they never come. What the? And to this day, I'm still perplexed, you know? I don't know if I've ever not come. You know, I'd probably literally have a fucking brain aneurysm. You know, if that happened to me. And at the end of the day, you're either a guy who fucks or you're a guy who thinks he's right. Hey, I'm not right. I'm Mr. Right Now. Oh fuck, there's a hair in this. Speaking of fucking, I don't flirt. And apparently that's flirting. But I don't care if you like me, you know? Panties wet instantly. What am I supposed to fucking do? Vomit in their fucking face? If I vomit in a girl's face, you know, she'd probably look at me and be like, shower me more. You know, what is life when not trying makes people fucking want to be near you? I'm like, literally, I don't like people. I'm like, fuck off. Like, get away from me. I love Oliver Reed, you know? He's, as a woman would say, my spirit animal. There's this one video where he teaches a guy to do an accent better, you know? And he's showing the guy. He says, do the accent like some sort of like foreign bushman. And the guy's like, like doing it like that. And he's like, what are you trying to kiss me or something? Why are you doing all that with your lips? He's like, stop doing this with the lips and just say it. And the guy's like, and then sounds like through three sort of like him, you know, correcting the guy, 3 corrections, by the end the guy could act. You know? That's fucking amazing. Again, that guy is fucking awesome, you know? He was in the original like Survivor movie. But it was almost like a satire. Like, because there was actually a lady there too in the original Survivor movie. Not a ball. In the original one.
Have you heard how... Restart that.
Oh, fuck.
Wait, just... Did you hear the story of how Oliver Reed died?
No, what happened?
So apparently he was, you know, a big drinker.
Yeah, he liked having fun.
Yeah, and then towards the end of his life, he actually was sober.
Mm.
And then on the last movie set he was working on, he got challenged to a drinking game.
I have heard that one. That's fucking amazing. Continue.
Isn't that crazy?
Continue, though. Tell the people.
So he gets challenged to a drinking game, and then everyone around him is telling him don't do it, which of course he goes and do it.
Yeah, of course.
And goes drink for drink and doesn't stop until he literally died.
Like, I almost could shed a tear, but I'm too comedy style right now. That's beautiful. That's how I want to die. But I want to die fucking. Challenge accepted. Tonight, shing, stabs me with a fucking sword in the chest. I'm a street fighter. You know, not an amazing fighter or anything, but I'm a guy who will fight you in public. You know, I'm not even saying I'll win, but I will swing. You know, I'm like that classic video of the Saxon, you know, telling the folks to go back where they fucking came from. I almost get in a fucking fight every time I go out. You know, they don't know it. You know, I'm like a SWAT member in public, you know? Just evaluating risks every moment, ready to strike, you know? I think I think all men worth the dirt they stand on throw hands, you know? I haven't actually been in a fight for like, I don't know, 10 years, maybe 6. Pretty much as long as I've been BC sober. You know, some people hate people who talk fights, you know, they've been in or drugs they've done, and I used to be one of those people, like, you know, you don't have anything better to talk about, but now I've changed my mind, and I love hearing people's the fighting and drug stories, because those are tales of living, you know? And when you think back on it, it's like these folks that are trying to grow up that don't want to fucking hear it, you know? People think I'm nuts because I don't believe in neutering animals. They say that the sound of a they say that the sound a cat makes when it's in heat is the most annoying sound in the world. Right? To which I reply, "Hey, that's cats singing love songs." You can't tell me humans singing love songs aren't fucking annoying. You know, we wouldn't fucking be here if it wasn't for those songs, though, you know? All love songs are annoying. We don't cut off the guy's dick for singing them. Yeah, and I'm nuts. Not much today, literally not much today. I've dealt with a fair amount of stalkers in my day. Male and female. The female ones, I get it, you know. They were more just losers. But male stalkers, that's fucking wild. Like, I mean, man stalking another man, what the fuck? Like this one guy who used to be one of my brother's childhood friends, you know, he always makes these fake accounts and you know, sends me weird fucking messages. One time I just sent him a picture of himself. You know, after I had figured it out, you know, after I figured it out it was him, you know, by just studying the message until I heard his voice in the words. He never did it again. The girl stalkers will, you know, drive an hour to your house and put a little note in your door or jog by your house fucking 3 times a day. But a guy stalker hates you. What? and still follows you relentlessly. Just waiting for the moment to strike or frame you, you know? Frame my fucking dick! Hey, if you're a stalker, don't do it. Just go find a fucking bridge and catch some air. You know what I mean? The real high one. People ask me, buddy, why you gotta be so strange? You know what I tell them? I'm practicing. And there's no time like the present. I've always been bullied, you know? But never felt bullied. Because I've never been bullied for being weak, you know? But bullied by weaklings for being strong, right? For having character, style, getting the girl, you know? People bully me because their dick doesn't get hard. That's okay, you know? I'm not really fond of guys with hard dicks anyways. I'd rather be the only guy walking tall, you know? And I always get along with tall walkers, but never with secret weaklings. You know what I mean? I always say, you either love me or hate yourself. And if you hate yourself, I'm right there with you. If I could build the perfect woman from scratch, this is what she would be like. She'd be about 5'5", you know, 27, 28 years old, with brown hair, blonde lowlights. She would be of fair complexion, big eyes, perfect smile, you know. She would like me a lot and tell people that she's fond of me, you know, and that she is the kind of woman that loves a man who, you know, truly doesn't care what people think. Oh, there she is! In 5, 4, 3, 2. Thanks for tuning in.
Somebody sensational.
Sing your heart out.
Get mad!
Be happy.
You have the right to remain silent.
Shut up!
Anything you say will be used against you. Against you. Against you. Against you.
That's the true reality. All right. Question time?
Questions. See, what is crazy is you said Oliver Reed is your spirit animal.
Mm-hmm.
One of my questions I wrote down was, what would your spirit animal be?
And if you would have asked me that, I would have went, I'm not a fucking queer.
Do you remember the first moment you realized you could make people laugh?
I don't know if I remember the first moment, but I remember like the first few times. And one of the first times was just me and my cousin doing like skits. And it was all ridiculous stuff. I'm sure most of it was based on Captain Underpants and South Park, but it was like putting like a toilet paper roll in your head. And I remember we came out to our family and we do these little skits we made. We were like 5 or 6. And literally our family's crying, laughing, like our intermediate family, our grandmother, aunts and uncles, crying. They're like dying, like they're like these silly fucks, like look at them go. They were just like fucking being breastfed a minute ago, and now there they are, making us literally laugh with things they invented. And they were amazed. Then a year or so later, we went to a family reunion with 30 cousins and things like that. And then towards the end of it, we did our sketch for them, our skit, and they were like, not one person laughed. We were like, fuck. So I fucking, the first time I ever tried, and then the second time I bombed like a motherfucker. I think that might have been it.
Who was your initial influence in comedy? First person, or was it a few?
Interesting. See, I gotta go deep for this. My first influence in comedy is probably Ernest P. Worrell. I mean, I used to dress like him and stuff like that. Might have been Ace Ventura 2 in my behavior or something, but I feel like Ernest was the first one I really emulated. Like I used to wear the little vest and a gray hat. So yeah, that was, but then like stand-up was probably when my parents would listen to Chris Rock's album. You know, the one where he's like, I hate N-words. That one.
Best advice you've read lately?
Best advice I've read. It's probably that Herman Hesse poem that basically says you can't, be an artist and an upstanding citizen.
How do you get in the zone to perform?
I like to not have to get into a zone. That's like one of my main things, to be able to do it at any time. So when I was younger, I would have to smoke fucking an ounce of weed before I performed. So that's how I'd get in the zone or get out of the fucking zone. But now I'm like, I better be able to perform at every second. So waking up, I'm in the fucking zone, as you know.
What do you think makes someone funny?
Other people laughing. And literally nothing fucking else.
How would you handle a heckler?
It depends, If they were heckling to add a tag to it, I'd go along with it. If they were questioning what I was doing, I don't know, because I always have these rich ideas of what I might do. I'm like, I grab them off the stage and pummel them in the face. But, I always try to stick to the school of norm. And whenever anyone would heckle him, he'd go, huh? And they would just keep going. He didn't work their heckles into his set and make a viral bit out of it. Fucking goofs.
Does writer's block exist?
No. Fucking idiots exist.
What's a place you would perform comedy if you could do it anywhere?
First thought was a Comedy Store. Second thought was Joe Rogan's thing. Third was something crazy, like at like for the Pope, or you know what I mean? Like that'd be cool. Something that's crazy, straight up the King of England's I saw your bit and I'd like to see you perform privately for me. I'd be like,
if you could narrate a book that's on Audible right now, what would it be? Exactly. That's what I thought.
Captain Underpants.
What's a favorite character you've created?
I like all the characters. Andrew, Mohan, Paul Van Stoken.
If you could time travel back to any era, what would it be?
Fuck. I never like going backwards.
Where forwards.
Yeah, a moment from now. I don't know, like I got, again, rich ideas, like, oh, I go back in time and kill fucking, you know.
Or who would you perform comedy for? Any, like, one back in time? Go back in time and make Alexander the Great laugh?
Is it Stalin? Yeah, I'd go back in time and do comedy for Stalin. Guy's a fucking bank robber. That's based. You know, I'd go back in time and do comedy for the person most likely to fucking kill me if I tell a bad joke.
If you could pick a new name for yourself, what would it be?
Fucking man. Slicker. Slickerman Tim.
What do you think of AI? Is it going to take over or what?
Are you talking about the Asian invasion?
What invention do you think would solve a major problem today?
What invention? Food materializer, where you could throw any material in it and it turned it into food. You know, you could take some sticks and stones, you throw it in there.
What kind of witchcraft is
That's
this?
an I didn't say an invention that existed yet. That would solve all the world's hunger, though.
And now you're Miss America.
And now I'm a liberal.
What should people strive for?
Well, as Henry Miller would say, never strive.
Why do you think he said that?
Because you should always just do everything you think of then. You know, striving entails you're gonna do it. You're building. No, do it now. Just do it. You know. Yeah. Just do it. You know.
You forgot what side it was on?
I don't look at myself in the mirror. I'm looking in the mirror over my shoulder to see who's fucking coming. You know what I mean?
What's something that always makes you laugh?
Something that always makes me laugh. My own jokes.
All right, and lastly, what does it mean to live a meaningful life?
What it means to live a meaningful life is everything. You know? And what is a meaningful life would be a life where you're in a position of fuck you. You know what I mean? A meaningful life is a life where you don't have to answer to shit. And if someone tells you to do something, you go, no, fuck you. And then you just eat out of your garden. You know, oh, you're fired if you don't do this. Yeah, fuck you. And you take a bite of your carrot. Oh, if you don't come to our fucking like party, we're not gonna be friends with you. I got my own house, fuck you. You know what I mean? It's just, because I would say it's just owning your own, like there's this great scene from this movie, and it's actually John Goodman. He basically says that, and he's like it's what you know, it's like what America was built on, was that fuck you-ness. And he was saying like basically the trick is you get $1 million, you buy your house, and then you keep enough money to like put into a thing that will pay off the taxes for the house. So you can buy a $300,000 house, and with the rest of the money, pay off the taxes forever. And now no one can tell you to ever do anything again. And he says to the other guy, he goes, was your grandfather like a guy who was a risk taker? And the guy goes, yeah. And he goes, yeah, it's because he did it from a fuck you position. So I guess the most meaningful thing you could be in life is someone who doesn't have to take fucking orders. And I don't even think you need a house or $1 million to do that. You just need to be fucking tough enough that if you have to live on the street, you don't give a fuck. You know, if you have to go to jail. Oh, well, oh no, not jail. Oh no. You know, like, so a meaningful life is a life without fear.
And that's the true reality.
I've been thinking about myself today, thinking how have I changed, and how I really don't care if you are here or if you don't stay. Now I'm feeling those winter blues, but I don't wanna cry. 'Cause all we ever do is laugh it off, and I'm sick and I don't know why.